Okay, so you got your Bill Murray shirt on. I did get Bill Murray right, and
Yes.
for those that are just joining us, I failed miserably on guessing. I
Yeah, so
went through
my
cat.
sister gave me this shirt a few years ago because she knows how much I love this movie, and of course it's Bill Murray and What About Bob, um, my favorite movie of all time, with Groundhog Day coming in right behind it, and just a hilarious movie. And this shirt just makes me laugh every time because he's got that stupid look on his face, and he's carrying his fish in a jar while wearing a life preserver. Um, this is the one where he's got all of these phobias and stuff, and so he ends up at the lake and he gets tied to the mast of the sailboat, and he's like, I'm sailing," and it's really funny. So
Yeah, I've
anyway,
never.
you've got to see the movie. It's really good.
Yeah, Chad discovered that I'm not cultured. I haven't
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, I don't know if it's culture, but at least it will it is sure to make you laugh because it's funny, and quite honestly, you can pull um, some real life lesson, and you know there's some legit stuff in here to take away about human behavior and relationships and stuff, but of course they do it in a hilarious way.
So you're saying if I need counseling, I can just watch this movie?
Well, it features a psychiatrist,
Oh,
so
does
yeah,
it?
I guess
Okay.
so. Yeah.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of up to speed, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
well, that's interesting. Favorite movies? I'm bad. I like an old '60s movies is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Called Where Eagles Dare with Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
a
that's
it's an action war movie. That's my speed.
sure. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Um, One of the things that Angie and I have done for we're both getting ready to turn 50 this coming year. Mine a little bit sooner than hers, but she came up with this great idea to make a list of 50 things to do before you're 50.
Oh,
And
cool.
so most of them are either very cheap or free things to do because that's how we roll. And some of them are seasonal, but many of them are not. And so one of them that is not is to pick a movie, maybe from like whatever the internet says is the, you know, list of the best movies ever made type of thing, and then to just pick one of those that we've never seen before and watch it. So I don't know if this one is on the list that you mentioned, but maybe we can put it there and culture ourselves from the Wayback Machine.
I'm not sure Angie would like it, but it's got intrigue and it's a. I don't know if you know who Alistair MacLean is, but it's
Mm-mm.
it's a lot like an Alistair MacLean novel. Um,
Mm.
Spies and double crossing and double
Oh yeah, we love that kind of stuff.
spy and commandos and crawling up walls and sneaking in and taking on a group of enemy soldiers that's way larger than you and then getting away by the skin of your teeth. So it's that kind of movie.
Oh yeah, we love that kind of stuff. What's it called again?
Where Eagles Dare.
Where Eagles Dare, from back in the 60s.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Wait.
it's a very young Clint Eastwood.
Cool. Yeah, I will look into that
Yeah,
for sure.
it's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. I don't know. On different genre is I love secondhand lions. Really love secondhand lions.
Secondhand Lions.
Hmm.
Another one I've not heard of.
Yeah, you've got to see that one.
Okay.
It's got Michael Caine and oh, I can't remember his name now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm stumped. Anyway, great movie. It's about this kid that is raised by some uncles, some eccentric uncles. It's
Mm,
really fun.
yeah, I like Michael Caine.
I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, it almost came. Anyway,
It'll hit you in a few minutes, or right after we're done recording.
yeah, it's like, oh, him. Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
he'll probably come and hunt me down and beat me up for forgetting his name. So
Hmm.
anyway, great movie. Lots of life lessons in that one. I
Yeah.
think you two would like that one.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm always up for a new movie. And honestly, so much of the new stuff that comes out is just
Yeah.
really bad.
This,
So,
this one's a good family movie. I mean, like I said, it's got a lot of good lessons in it. So,
all right,
yeah,
cool.
you had to angle that down so I could see Bill's.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we got all the trivia out of the way with
Yeah, I would have never
the
guessed that was a fish, but anyway.
yeah. So the viewers need to write in the comments what is the name of the fish that's in the jar. That's the trivia question. And if you get it right, of course you'll win a big prize and we'll send that to you, right, Todd?
Well, we could probably do it.
Yeah.
I can probably come up with a t-shirt since I have a t-shirt shop. So
That's right. Yeah, we can print prize t-shirts. Yes, of course. Cool.
cool. Hey, you were asking me about relationships, and let's keep this general. I know you were being specific, but let's keep this general if you're okay with
Okay.
it. And
Yeah.
maybe if you need to edit out some stuff, we can do that too. But you know, relationships. I've got a friend that says, my job would be really easy if it didn't involve people.
Oh, I say that too. I really do. People can be so hard. I mean, they're the best and the worst sometimes at the same time. And yeah, I'm with you.
I hear people, oh, if I could just go to my cubicle. And what's funny is I watch them and they hang around people. It's just so funny. No, no, I'm a real introvert, but yet they want to be involved. They want to be part of
Hmm.
the tribe, and it's just really cute. I have to grin because it's really it's really counter
Yeah.
what they're saying. Oh, I'm just an introvert and I'm shy, and yet when they get involved in something that they just really love, um, maybe a hobby or just a passion of theirs, they just they're all in. They want to share it. Um,
Mm.
anyway, I think it's cute.
Doesn't that just doesn't it speak so much to how we're made though that it everybody knows it's like, well, we are communal species, and we thrive in community and with others versus isolation. And then of course all the mental health experts say, a danger sign of um, you know suicide or depression or all of that stuff is this isolation. And I think it's very true, and I agree with you that even for those of us who might label ourselves as introverts, we still need people. And I think especially for men, and this is a pretty new discovery for me in the last few years, but men need other men, um, to associate with and relate to and have serious conversations with, to be encouraged, to be challenged. And I mean, it's no secret. This is why you and I have worked for going on 5 years now, is because we recognize the value of having a connection man
I
to man about things that matter.
can see my grandfather's era. Um, a man had to do it all by himself. We around here we call it the cowboy way. If I can't do
Yeah.
it, nobody can. And if you're going to try,
Mm,
I'm going to usurp your effort to do it because I'm not doing it, and
yeah.
I don't need anybody. Don't cry. Nobody cares, and um, there's an element to that, and I can see where some of that is good. But to your point, we absolutely need people, and yeah, men need men.
Yeah.
I there's kind of this culture thing with the Navy SEALs, and you look at that,
Mm.
and that's all about team. Um,
Hmm.
they they want to be as good as they can individually so that they can increase the viability of the team. Um,
Yes.
and I know that this is a metaphor used a lot, but the chain's only as strong as the weakest link. So, you want to be the good link. And what's funny is we cover each other on weaknesses that we might have that are strengths with someone else. And so we cover each other that way. My strength may cover your weakness and vice versa. And there
Yeah.
it's kind of like this overlay thing, here's my weakness, you've got your strength on top of that, and vice versa. So,
Yeah.
um, you asked me a specific question, and I'm going to ask you a question back. You went and got some advice from your pastor and his wife on relationships. What did you find there? What did they share with you that you thought were key?
Well, without getting too specific about the situation, it was, um,
By the way, we're talking about like a marriage or a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. Uh,
yeah, just
that was your question,
navigating personal relationships,
right?
and as a community of people, how do we encourage, support, um, maybe confront sometimes when we see things in such relationships that maybe aren't healthy, or um, you know I guess I'll just leave it at that, maybe not healthy.
Well,
And what is my obligation there to insert myself versus, hands off, because hey, this isn't my problem, and just really trying to understand what does that really look like, and what is my obligation, and even more so, what does God say about that, and how I'm to behave in such community. And just because I think it can get really messy and complicated, and as one who um, naturally likes to avoid confrontation, uh, it's especially hard to know what's the right or best thing to do in those situations. So yeah, that was kind of the line of the question. But you asked what was the advice out of that,
yeah.
and so,
What key points did you take away from that?
well, first is that they agree that it's very difficult, and that in cases where there might be some unhealthy things going on and you don't necessarily know what's true, there's maybe two sides to the story in some relationship, and then there's obviously a third side, which is actually the truth, and we can't possibly know all of that many times, I think. And so then how do you navigate that? And so the first advice was, just so you know, this is not unusual. Welcome to people and relationships and ministry and that kind of thing, because it's just hard. So for me, that was actually pretty encouraging, because I thought, well, either I'm doing something wrong, or um, whatever else, but hey, this is just kind of how it is. Um, Another thing that was said is that uh, I need to not unnecessarily carry somebody else's burden, especially to the point where it's affecting my own health and viability, to do what is on my plate already. And sometimes that might mean um, creating some boundaries, or stepping back, or taking a break, or I don't know, call it whatever you want, but versus, you know, where I find the tension is, well, does that mean I just need to dig in further and really kind of super invest there? Um, that's high tension for me. And their advice was, well, if you're getting this inkling that it's just really heavy and it's, you know, taking away from other and vital parts of your responsibility in life, then maybe some of those boundaries, I guess, may need to be considered. And so also encouraging and very challenging too, because when you care so deeply about the people, how do you know? How do you know if I'm supposed to really dig in or if I'm supposed to step back? So I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and I think that's all good advice because sometimes we wander in where we're not welcome. Um, I just
Mm.
I did some training with the sheriff's department here. I was training to be a what do they call it? A reserve deputy. It's been a
Oh, okay.
I was going to be on the reserves anyway. It's interesting. They had us go through a mock domestic dispute, and what's interesting is that
Oh,
you've got these two adversaries, and then in walks a third party, kind of uninterested, but yet we're trying to keep them
yes.
separated and so forth. What's interesting is whoever's at fault, and what's funny is it will change because both, they're doing this. The other one's at
Yes.
fault, okay, but you
Yeah.
introduce this third party. And what I discovered was, and what we've learned from experience in the police world is domestic disputes are actually quite dangerous because now you're the enemy. They will team up and
Mm.
come at you. Okay,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
does
I
that make
hadn't thought of
sense?
it that way, but yeah, that could
Okay.
really be something. Yeah.
The husband could be beating up the wife, and the police come in and they start to restrain the husband, and all of a sudden the wife is now seeing her husband,
Ah.
and the police become the enemy. So you have
Oof.
to be really careful in those situations, uh,
Yeah.
and they can turn deadly really fast,
Sure.
really
Yeah.
unintentional, but just just that the mama or the papa bear syndrome. Hey, you're getting one of my own, and you're an
Mm.
outsider, and
Yeah.
therefore I'm going to attack you. So, yeah, yeah, you have to almost be invited in. The other point that
Mm.
you brought up is this is not your monkey. You don't
Yeah.
you don't have to carry this burden. Now, the burden might be that you've got a friendship with them.
Yeah.
That's your burden, is to keep that friendship. But that's not your monkey to sort it out. Your
Yeah.
monkey is to be a friend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And that sometimes that can be a fine line. That can be a really fine line. Um,
Yeah, because then on the one side it feels like, I would say I'm a fairly loyal person, and so it could feel like abandonment, if I regard relationships as important and I want people to, stick with me, when I'm having a hard time, how do I then abandon or appear to abandon when somebody else is having a hard time? And I really wrestle with that.
well, they call it the cocoon, or the caterpillar cocoon syndrome, where
Mm.
the caterpillar goes in its cocoon. Well, why don't we just cut that open and not make it work through that process of learning
Mm.
and developing, coming out of the cocoon? Why don't we just cut it open and have the butterfly? Well, the problem is that it doesn't become the butterfly without that, um, you know,
Mm.
uh, lesson. It's like, when you were teaching Brandon to ride the bicycle, there was one time that you had to let go of the seat. It, you,
Yeah.
you had to just let go and let the circumstances be what they were. And, of course, there's a consequence with falling down on a bicycle. Sometimes you have to
Yeah.
fly, but, lesson learned. Okay, I don't do that. So jump back up on the
Yeah.
bike and go again. And so sometimes we have to, you're calling it abandonment. I'm not so sure it isn't that you're just allowing them to sort it out and learn the lesson.
Mm,
Because if you give them the lesson, they won't appreciate it. And
mm.
anyway, does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, Todd, you don't even know how powerful that is for my present circumstance. But I just think in general, such great advice. The cocoon illustration is so meaningful because there has to be a time. There's a process through that. You can't rush that.
No,
And and that looks different in every situation, of course, but just the idea that we're always in such a hurry to fix everything, right?
right. Yeah, give me
And
rats and I'll
maybe,
fix it. Yep.
yeah, maybe let's just let time and in process do its good work,
Yep.
and then observe the beautiful butterfly that comes from it later. I really love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and see through that effort, it becomes the butterfly, and it receives that strength, and it takes on that
Yeah,
beauty. It takes on that beauty from the, I'm going to call it bad. I'm using air quotes. Why does it have to go through that process? Why can't I cut it open? Because I can hurry it. I won't put it through
yeah,
pain. We think that there's pain involved with that, and certainly there is, but without that pain and effort, it won't become that
yeah,
beautiful butterfly. And
yeah.
in relationships, I think the other thing that we tend to do is that we think that we're going to arrive at a great relationship, and
Mm,
we don't arrive at it. It's not a destination. It is something that
yeah,
it's one of those little tiny things I have to work on every day to improve it every day. It's a journey.
yeah,
It's not a destination spot.
yeah.
Um, I work
That's fabulous.
I
Yeah.
I counsel with some young single adults that are part of our church group, and they think, well, when I get married, this will be solved, and
Mm, yeah,
no, it won't be solved. You'll just be doing it together, and it becomes that journey together is what it really becomes. And so you have to be careful with that. That the when then thinking is what I call it. When then, when I get my degree, everything will be fine. When I get married, everything will be fine. When we have children, everything will be fine, and it'll be better when. And
yes.
we're chasing that horizon. We're always going and trying to catch the horizon, and we just never catch it. And what we've got to do is just,
Mm,
and it's the same with relationships. It's not something that's just going to magically take care of itself at this perfect time.
yeah.
Uh, and
Boy, that's really good.
that
The other thing I like you said there was about how rushing that process in our air quotes our fix it mentality where hey, I've got the solution, here you go. um very often I've experienced this, and I know that you have it in your business, and same with mine, that giving people the answers doesn't compel them to change at all. um
nope,
that just doesn't work. And so the other kind of side of this thing, that just to touch on, is you know our inclination to want to help. We think we're helping by giving them the solution, actually isn't the helping. And that's really hard for those of us, I think especially men who want to fix and repair things. um it's just not how it works, especially in relationships, or even with like habits and stuff. I can't, you say you want to lose weight and eat better, and my first answer is, I don't think you're ready, versus here's a list of foods to eat, because you're just not going to do it. So I think there has to be a process of mental and spiritual growth and change that takes place in that cocoon first. And so you've said that expertly, and yeah, I'm grateful for that encouragement. Thank you very much.
No, it's just the way it is. I mean, even with ourselves, what's funny is we have a relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
Never had that little voice in your head? Yeah.
I want to punch him in the face a lot of times.
And and so it's not just a business partnership or a marriage relationship or a boyfriend girlfriend relationship or a friend. I mean, it's me with me.
Yeah.
And I have to love who I am even with my flaws. And keeping score. I, I'm really bad at this.
Mm,
I I keep really good score on all the bad stuff I do and forget about all the good stuff I do. And so when something happens, it's like, oh, I'm such a such a slug, or whatever the name I give myself that day. But we have to be good to ourselves too and allow that cocoon thing to happen with us and grow.
mm,
You know, I wish I could watch a Les Brown video on YouTube and just suddenly change, and I can't.
yeah.
I can be a little motivated, but you know what? It's very perishable. People tell me, "Oh, you got to watch this video. It's so motivating," and I'm thinking, I love them. I'll watch them, but I know that my motivation comes from how I like myself.
Yeah.
That's my motivation. But back to your question on relationships and advice there. I think you've got to be careful, and I kind of alluded to this with my bad and my good. We keep score
Mm,
in relationships, and what's funny is we remember the bad, forget the good, and we keep score. And what's funny is we'll keep score on whatever we want that relationship to be deep down.
mm,
Not the wish, it's what we intend. And where I'm headed with this is some people like being miserable, and they will manufacture little things, not even knowing it. I mean, they wish for a great relationship, but you can see this in some of your relationships where they almost sabotage it just to be miserable because they like being miserable, because they like being the victim. See my badge on my chest,
mm,
I'm
yeah.
I'm in
I'm
this
victim. Yeah.
relationship or whatever, and it gives them something to talk about, to be noticed. And in some circles in society, we actually congratulate that and
Mm.
celebrate that. Oh, you're a victim. uh,
Wow. That is so true and
and so we have to be,
painful.
yeah, we have to tread very lightly. And they'll say one thing, and I think their intent, I think their wish is really that, but what's
Mm,
their intention? What's their sincerity in their heart? Because it will be actions. It will be, don't tell me a good story. Don't tell me a good story. Show me a good story. Is
mm,
what it comes down to. And I don't mean this in a bad way. You just have to test it and say, okay, are they really intentional wanting to fix it? If there's a bad
yeah.
relationship, some people like being miserable.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too, where change is really hard and it sounds like madness, and maybe it is madness. Maybe this is part of mental illness, I think, is that even when we're miserable, if we're used to it, we know what that is. And
Better
so
to better to be with the
we'll
devil
stay
you
there.
know, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it is complete madness and insanity to think that way, but yet we do. And if I'm honest with myself, there are parts of my mental uh, viewpoint that stays in negative places because that's where it's always been, and to change that is very difficult. And so seeing it in other people, as we've often said, is very easy. Seeing it in ourselves is much more difficult, but it's there. And to acknowledge that changing from those things is very awkward and messy and difficult. Also normal, I think might be helpful to us. But yeah, that's a great point. We we love being however it is. It's comfortable. That's what it is, right? At the
It
very
is. It's
baseline, it's about comfortable.
all
What are we
about
used to?
comfort.
Let's just leave it there.
Yep. It's all about comfort.
Ugh,
And I don't mean this in a bad way, and we all suffer from it. Every one of us
yeah,
suffer from it. If we really intended, to your point, to lose weight, to get in shape, if our intention was true and our intention was really a want instead of a wish, we would move heaven and earth to get in shape or to
yeah,
lose weight or
yeah,
to fix our relationship or and unfortunately in a relationship you've got two people that have to, well, two or
yes,
more that have to agree that we want this fixed. And I guess that's where I would go next with this. I've discovered in relationships that sometimes it's good to have a difficult talk.
mm,
We, in our family, we had a situation crop up and we got everybody together and we said, okay, we want a set of bylaws, we want guidelines that we are going to all agree to. And then if we have an issue with the relationship, we can go back to this and say, okay, where did we fail? What did we miss? I'll give you an example. First on our list is any interaction in our family should be meant and it should be interpreted and received as well intended.
mm.
Okay, I'll give you.
Benefit of the doubt. Yeah,
Yep,
yes,
it was the intention was good. I'll give you an example. Have you ever received a text and you go, really?
yes. I, I
Really?
loathe texting for that
Oh,
reason. Yeah.
and there's you can see emotion in there, but it's how we receive it. It's just
Hmm.
words. And you've received a text and you took it totally. I've done this. I take it totally wrong, and I call them up and say, "Really, you really intend? Oh no, 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 that's not what I meant."
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what happens is that we have to understand and remember that whatever interaction we have, if you can establish that set of bylaws, for instance, in our family, any interaction is well intended. Okay, we love each other.
Yeah.
If it comes across weird, just take it at face value that it
Yeah.
was well intended. Okay, until you discover otherwise. Now, has that worked perfectly? No. But it's there and we can refer back to it. Okay. So, if somebody's upset, hey, remember our rules of engagement here. Was that what you meant? Oh no, and we've discovered stuff like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I like that a lot.
And so
Yeah. What is the best possible way that I can receive this interaction? And even face to face, you know, Angie and I will get stuck in this sometimes where maybe she'll say something to me that's perfectly well intended, and for some reason I'm taking it like she's attacking me for something. Well,
exactly,
that's more a me problem than it is a her problem,
it
right?
is. Yep,
And so it becomes my job to then say, okay, this is my inclination. That's probably not great. So I need to figure that out. But in this moment, how can I take this in the best possible way and respond in that versus the natural inclination?
exactly. You and I are both wearing glasses right now. Okay. I've got my glasses on, you've got yours. We both wear glasses, so let's just trade glasses and we'll see the same, right?
Right.
And see, we expect that because we're both wearing glasses. But what we don't
Yeah.
understand is the prescription is probably different. If I were to look through your glasses, it would probably be all fuzzy and, it's
Hmm.
for you looking through mine. And so I think it's got to be well intended that we're going to see the same thing, but we
Yeah.
don't always see that. We don't always perceive the same thing. We're looking through
Yeah.
different glasses, our experience, anyway, we have to make sure that we're well intended. And so
Mm,
where I'm headed with that is if you want to fix a relationship, I think that's where you start is